Hello there. I would like to welcome everybody to Nerdcast. As you can see by his absence, Tony's not here today. He had to take some personal time. He has some personal family issues going on. But he's in our hearts. Shout out to you, Tony. We love you. Without further ado, I'd like to bring on the man who put the O in Oreo cookie, Mr. Andy O.
Shh, you're not supposed to say that.
What's going on, brother?
What's up?
Man.
What's up?
Oh, before I forget, Nerdcast's favorite Aunt Mel, is watching this. So shout out to you, Aunt Mel. I love you. From your favorite nephew. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about a new movie. Are you ready for it, Andy?
I'm ready.
Okay. Without further ado, let's watch the trailer first. Well, if I can get the trailer to start.
The general became a slave. A slave who became a gladiator.
How come I have
Gladiator
no
defied an
sound?
emperor. Only a famous death will do.
The frost. Sometimes it makes the blade stick.
You find yourself alone, riding in green fields with the sun on your face. Do not be in
Folks,
trouble,
we're going to be doing
for you are in Elysium, and you're already dead.
you getting any sound, Andy?
Yeah, I can hear it. Just
What we doing live?
picture is like
Echoes in eternity.
light showish.
I like Spaniel. I shall cheer for you.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife.
And I will have my vengeance. In this life or the next.
Today I saw a slave become more powerful than the Emperor of Rome.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back.
Smile for me now.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Okay, well, Andy, why don't you go first, man?
I like these kind of movies. I've always been like into the Roman stuff. It's really, to me, it's a really, almost really shows like kind of what they went through back in those times. I mean, obviously this storyline starts with Maximus, who is a general for the Roman Empire, I believe, fighting multiple different battles. I mean, I guess you could say war, but back then it was mainly battles. was almost at the edge to be freed, until he found out that the Emperor was dying, and after finding that out, the Emperor wanted Maximus to take his place as the ruler, to go back to a Republican country, because he didn't want his son to rule, because he knew his son wouldn't be able to handle it and would make it corrupt. They got wind of that, or the son got wind of that, ended up pretty much murdering his father. They literally set out to murder Maximus before he was be able to be released home. Fortunately, he was able to escape that, fought his way out of it, tried to return home to his wife and daughter, who ended up being murdered by the Emperor's guards, and then found himself literally wound up in a trade line of slaves, which then became a slave to the Gladiator games, and basically goes through the entire movie using his willpower of fighting, basically to get justice on what happened to his son. And I'm sorry, was it son or daughter?
Son,
yeah, son and wife, to try to seek vengeance until he could get vengeance on for the death of his son and wife. So basically, he fights his way through the gladiators. Then the Emperor Commodus ended up realizing that he was the existing general, and did realize that he didn't make it, as far as he was never killed off, and realizes that he came back as a slave, and then basically fights to the end until he ends up getting justice to Commodus, which he ends up taking out at the end of the movie, but then later dying from a lung puncture that happened before they battled, and pretty much goes through the movie and tells Commodus that I'm going to seek vengeance in this life or another, whether you like it or not. And it's got a lot of great scenes. I like the battle scenes, especially the one where he's just starting out in the games, when the guy buys him as a slave trade. He gets sent out basically with one sword against these big, I don't know what you would have called them, but the big gladiators, they're all jacked with the helmets, and it's just boom, boom, boom. And I think my favorite scene is where he stabs the guy in the chest twice and then just grabs the swords and goes like this and just takes the head off. I think that was one of my favorite scenes. But
you're not bloody, not at all, not violent person by any stretch of the imagination.
But I give this 5 stars. I mean, Russell Crowe did a really good job with this part. I would have liked to. I mean, it's a little bit late now, but I would have been curious to see. Obviously, he died, but to see where they could have took it if they made a second one.
They are making a second one. It has been confirmed.
But and then, like I said, there's a lot of great scenes, and basically, he uses what he learned in the army to help keep some of the other slaves alive. And then basically from his death, his last wishes were basically to, I forgot the guy's name, but the one that originally worked underneath Caesar, he wanted him to take charge after he died to make Rome what it used to be. And one of his last wishes was to free the slaves and let them all go, which they ended up doing that. And they all honored him by basically carrying him out of the Colosseum. So I think it was a pretty good representation on basically you fight every day to stay alive because you feel that's what your family would have wanted you to do.
So you're giving this 5 stars.
I'll give it 5 stars because I like the Roman fighting style, and I like those kind of movies.
Okay.
And it's got Russell Crowe. You can't beat it.
Well, of course not. Russell Crowe is good in practically anything he does. This movie was brought out in 2000. It was Ridley Scott's last movie. that Ridley Scott did. And Ridley Scott, for those of you who don't know, he's did several movies, and he's won Academy Awards for this movie here. As my esteemed cohort in crime stated, this movie is about Maximus. Maximus is, of course, a general, and one of the first scenes, he says an amazing quote. He says, "At my signal, unleash hell." Where, of course, you get Stone Cold Steve Austin saying it in WWE in the Gladiator spoof. What the old emperor wanted to do, because he loved Maximus so much, is he wanted to adopt him as his son so he could take over the mantle of emperor. Now, the emperor's son, who was played by Joaquin Phoenix, who's a little slimy piece of poo, he basically he kills his own father by smothering him. And the next thing he knows is that, he's, when he finds out that the emperor is dead, the emperor's son wants him to, kiss the ring. Well, Maximus is not going to do that. Maximus leaves and heads home. Well, actually, he gets arrested, and they accused him of the emperor's murder. So, yeah. This coming from Anthony Leroy Nidas. Had to do it, folks. Had to. Anyways, he gets sold into slavery. He finds out that his wife and his son are dead. And he, once he's sold into slavery, oh God, there he goes. He goes into slavery. He gets bought by somebody who trains gladiators to die. And he turns out to be one of the best gladiators, if not the best gladiator around. What kills me is Russell Crowe. His character has some of the best sayings in this movie. Number one is, "At my signal, unleash hell." Another one is, "I will have my vengeance, either in this life or the next." And of course, "Are you not entertained?" One thing I noticed about the movie, I love the choreography. I love the fight scenes. What I noticed is the people of Rome, they were all about the statues. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, you couldn't turn a corner without another statue there. They were all about them statues. And, he gravitates towards Lucius, who is the son of a love interest. Well, he can't even spell it now. Well, now, I have a theory. Lucius is Maximus' son, because the relationship ended between the two over 10 years ago. How old's the son of Lucius's former love interest? About 10. Think about it. I mean, it's a theory. It's a theory to go with.
I guess we'll have to see that in the second one. Maybe they'll touch base on
Well, the next one is they already confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, that there is going to be a Gladiator 2. Unfortunately, Ridley Scott will not be doing it because Ridley Scott passed away. However,
Ridley
Scott, the producer and the first one. Unfortunately, he passed away, so it'll be coming in, I believe they said 2024. So we'll have to wait and find out exactly what's going on. A couple of interesting things about this movie before I give my vote on this. I found out they used the term Elysium at the beginning of the movie. Elysium is their equivalent of heaven.
Kind of like Vikings call their heaven Valhalla. So
Yeah.
It's their own terminology.
Yeah, it's their own terminology of the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, there's Elysium and then there's Tartarus. Basically, they recreated the Roman Colosseum, which was fascinating how they did. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't see behind us, there's a picture of the Roman Colosseum as it stands today. And it's, you know, worn down, dilapidated. Probably won't last another, 30, 40 years. But all in all, I would give this movie 5 stars. I would have to give this movie 5 stars because, quite frankly, I enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. I thought this movie was one of the better movies. I want us to try to bring up more Ridley Scott movies that we can see on the channel. Not just like direct back to back, of course. But you know, I quite enjoyed this movie. I thought this movie did really well at the box office. I remember seeing this movie after it came out to video, and I kind of enjoyed it. Was there anything in? Was it just the fighting scenes? I mean, I kind of enjoyed, you know, with the tigers in there.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of it. I mean, like the sappy kind of stuff, like I'm drawing a blank now. Caesar's son had, like, you know, with his sister and stuff like that. I think that was kind of weird.
That's kind of creepy to me.
You guys are family, but you want him to be with you. Like, that's, I mean, back then, I guess it wasn't unusual, but you know, it's just kind of.
It's kind of sus in this day and age.
And you did miss one catchphrase they used a few times in the movie too, and Maximus does it mainly when he's with either his army or the slaves, which was strength and honor.
Well, that's true. That's true as well.
And also, I've seen this movie a bunch of times over the last 15 plus years, and I didn't even realize it because my wife, she's the big movie buff when it comes to certain movies. Tony and Jim will know exactly what I'm talking about. But I didn't even notice that Caesar was actually played by the same guy who plays the original Dumbledore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't never caught onto that until she said something the other night when we were watching this.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
I forgot his name too.
But the all in all, I kind of enjoyed this movie. I thought this movie was rather good. You know, I thought it had some good fight sequences in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that I noticed in this movie. Maximus basically wanted to die in battle, so he could rejoin his family. And no, ladies and gentlemen, no, Russell Crowe is not going to be in the second one. No, his character died in the arena. But the new emperor, that sneaky little flea, he he stabs him before he goes to fight him, not giving him a fight, trying to take every chance he possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was not he wasn't a fair emperor.
He was corrupt.
He was corrupt, and that may well be the beginning of the fall of Rome. Because those beginning stages of the Gladiators. Of course, the Gladiator games have been outlawed for many, many, many years. Many. I would say probably 500-600 years.
And I think. Oh, go ahead.
I would gather. I mean,
I like the scene where he fights the. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I believe they called him the Tiger King. He was the undefeated gladiator for that game, for that year or whatever. And of course, he gets him down to the very, very end, fights off one of the tigers, then stabs him in the foot with his own axe. And then basically they're telling him, and the Emperor's telling him, thumbs down, like, kill him, take him out. And he gets to the point where he's ready to do it, and he just throws the axe. Basically telling everybody, like, there's no reason we need to get to this point. There's no reason we need to be doing this. Like, you don't need to kill somebody to take a loss. Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I said, I give this movie 5 stars. Andy, you give it 5?
Yep.
Yep. See. There we go. I believe. Are you touching the buttons again, Andy?
I got it. Somebody's got to do it. Tony's not here.
Well, he left me in charge, and by God, I'm going to take names. I know who's did what, and y'all in trouble. Y'all going to be staying afterwards for detention.
I just want to make sure it goes through clearly because you're running on Mendoza internet. You're running off your neighbors.
But that won't be happening for very soon because I just on a personal note, I just talked to the internet company, and they're already taking orders for out here for the new internet service coming out. So can't wait. I'm sure Tony can't wait, and I'm sure you can't wait.
Jim's finally getting off of dial-up.
No, DSL, man. Get it right, DSL.
Come on, I know those days. I remember the old MSN days. My brother would be on the computer, and I would just sit there and pick the phone up, the landline, and whoop, get off the internet. That was back, for those of you youngins that don't know, that was back when AOL Instant Messenger was cool. Before texting.
Yeah, those were the days when you could go to Kmart and get the free internet service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember.
You could get a hot
those
dog
days.
and a slice of pizza while you wait.
Yeah, it'll take you a while to get on there, and God forbid trying to watch a movie on there. No, you'd never get it done. But yeah, I think the next movie that we're going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there, John Wick Chapter 4. And And before you squint and everything, get with Tony about that.
Why would you go chapter 4 instead of just watching the first one?
Well, it's the newer movie.
I'm gonna have to talk to Tony. You guys have horrible taste in movies here.
Okay. No, man. No. Heck no. John Wick is one of the better movies out there, man. But I told you this was going to be a quick one, a quick review. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Folks, those of you who are watching, if you would just take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Help the channel grow. Help us grow. Help us build. We like doing these reviews for you. We like doing, bringing you this kind of content. This, Goat Milk Diaries, Pro Wrestling Junkies. No, wrong one, Mendoza. Wrong one. Totally wrong one.
I'm going to give a shout out again to Pounding the Meat. They seem to be helping us out here and there when they can. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Stephen Hammer. I believe he's still battling medical stuff with his wife. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's got a GoFundMe page started. Don't hold me to it, but I swear I saw a link for that somewhere pop up in one of the groups. So, if you anything to help him out, him and his wife are going through a tough time right now. So any help there would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, like Jim said, just like, share, subscribe, flick that notification bell for the next episode. Stay tuned.
And we will definitely see you, Mendoza. This is a show about spoilers. Don't be giving spoilers before everybody has seen the movies. Or I'm going to be telling everybody that you're watching your stuff via bootleg. Whoops. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. We will see you next time.